What's up, guys? Tonight we are talking about the DCU and the many things that have happened since last week when we talked about it again. And so stick around. We're gonna discuss news, teasers, speculation about what's to come. So don't miss out. This is the FOMO show. Hey guys, I am Dylan.
Hi, I'm Quinn.
And here we are. Here we are. We're an hour late, but that's because technology, computer hates me. But we're here. We're going to make it work. All right. So whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, whatever, I appreciate you guys joining us. And hopefully you will join us live every Thursday night, 9:30-ish. Like sometimes we'll just say Thursday nights. Yes. And so that's why you should like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon when we drop new videos and when we go live. That way you will know when we actually get to go live because of life and technology and other things that we're just trying to manage here and make this happen. Because we don't have a team or like a whole studio backing us or anything like that, like some of these other YouTubers out there, which is fine. But yeah, we're the little guys. Support the little guys, and unfreeze our account. So yeah, check out the link in the description, and you can drop us a tip or whatever, buy us a coffee, who knows, or buy a shirt. Go to our website at www.broken.picturesno.com and check it out there. So yeah, special notes, I guess, just it's cold, flu, COVID, RSV season. Stay healthy and watch out for yourself and your own, out there. So that is it. We're going to try to roll through this as quick as possible, which might actually get us more views. We'll see.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Okay. This is your spoiler alert. In this episode of the FOMO show, we will be talking about... It's done. We will be talking about, really the entire DCEU, mentioning movies that have come out in the past, roughly decade or so. Probably less than that. That was a big one. What was that? So if you haven't watched any of those, you can go watch them and come back, but we'll just reference things. So, you've been warned? Yeah, you've been warned.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. So I want to put my notes out here in the middle, so because I didn't update our notes on the computer. All right. So first of all, the elephant in the room, Henry Cavill.
It's gone.
Out, am I? He is out, and we're all very, very sad. We're very upset, and still kind of reeling and upset. Did I say upset? I'm upset.
Yeah, it's a weird place for us all to be in right
now. Yeah.
We just got him back.
Yeah, we literally just got him back, and we were discussing as the computer couldn't decide if it was gonna let us use it or not tonight. We were discussing this and kind of running over it, so maybe we've got it a little bit more refined than we normally have. So let's kind of hit on these main characters, I guess. So right now, let's just go ahead and hit on Superman because this is kind of where we at. So Henry Cavill made an announcement this week that he is he's been hopeful, and there's not been any hard evidence that he was out, even though it seemed like it up until this point. And even in October, he dropped a video at the behest of the studio to announce his return as Superman. And we saw him in Black Adam, and supposedly he did a cameo in the Flash movie that's coming out, which has been removed according to Hollywood Reporter.
Stupid.
Yeah, but still getting Batfleck's cameo. Things are so weird right now that we're just trying to make sense of it and talk it through And this could be just like a giant therapy session for all of us.
Yeah.
So, so Henry Cavill, who was like I feel like the Superman of our generation has the most potential, but has been used the least and worst. Like they've not maximized his potential in the slightest.
No. That's been heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, and it's hard to know where all this is coming from, because when David Zaslav took over from Discovery, took over Warner Brothers, number one on his priority was the DCEU and getting it fixed, getting it back on track, because it's kind of compartmentalized. It's spread out, and it's all doing different things. You got 4 Batmans. It's crazy. And so his priority was getting Superman back in the game, and it's like, why Superman is like the tip of the spear. I mean, why is he not got a sequel, and we're doing Aquaman sequel? And so yeah. So there were talks that, I mean, they had a treatment, and Man of Steel 2 was going forward. Henry Cavill was back. It was on, it was going, and that's why supposedly that's why he dropped out of The Witcher, so he could focus on this, and he was fully committed. He's been waiting for this, and doing other things in the meantime. Rumors are that there's more to it, which is why he's actually not coming back for The Witcher now that he is still out of Superman. That there's disagreements on
how The Witcher should move forward.
Exactly, and content as far as like original or not original content, but
the source material.
The source material, exactly.
Because this man, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know, he, before they started filming the first season, he read all the books, he played all the games, and then he was like, yeah, this is dope. And then after this last season, they said, you know what we're gonna do? None of this. And he was like, cool, peace out.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, that the fans have his respect, because he is king of the fans, in that he's a geek for a lot of things, but he's a fan of the source material, and he is also of the mind that, which has been my soapbox for years, if something is big enough to warrant attention to create a movie or franchise, film base or whatever out of it, then how are you going to ignore the
thing that made it get it to that point? Exactly.
And I understand it's all about ego when you got people that's like, well, I want to do my own thing. Well, it's not your content. Like, you are literally piggybacking to get a job on this thing, and you are going to basically cut yourself off at the knees by saying screw the fans. And we've seen that play out with Michael Bay and several other directors, and it just does not compute. It's like go if Ryan Johnson, I know that's a whole thing, but if go do original content. If you want to do original content, you can't just reinvent somebody else's content, unless you have earned the right to.
Unless they have said, you own the keys to my kingdom, here, take them now and do it as you please.
Yeah, somebody like Henry Cavill, who is a fan of the original content, who has campaigned for the original content and is active in the culture of the original content, has earned the right to experiment with the characters and those worlds and things like that, as well as like these comic book writers who have been doing it for decades, all that kind of stuff. Or people that have earned our trust, rather than somebody that just comes in and go, you know what, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're going to throw out mutant and just make them alien. Michael Bay. So, I mean, I'm going to move on from that, because I could talk about that for a long, long time.
So, Henry Cavill's statement came out, and then the next day or a few hours later,
I think James Gunn, I think his statement was, it might have been the same day or the next day. Basically, because that's a typical studio move where they're trying to minimalize backlash. And so, like, if they have to make a negative announcement, the actor will make a statement, his people will make a statement, and then the studio will make a statement. And James Gunn is representative for DCU Films right now. So obviously, Henry Cavill, hey, I'm sorry this happened. We're going to move on, and then trying to spin it in a positive way, saying, hey, I love the character. The character's still here. I'm excited to see what they're going to do, but it's not going to include me, sadly. But still trying to like keep that door open, not burning bridges and being a good human.
Yeah.
And then James Gunn having to make a statement for the studio saying, hey, we love Henry Cavill. We just decided not to go forward because we're going in a different direction and all these different things, which, no matter what he would have said, people are still upset because we had just gotten the thing that we've been wanting for so long. And it just seems like such a bad miscalculation because it seems to be all on James Gunn because David Zaslav, like Warner Brothers Studios, wanted Henry Cavill back.
Yeah.
And they got him. And the fans got him. But now it seems James Gunn and Peter Safran are standing in our way, and it makes it's not a good look. No. It makes them look like the bad guys. And there may be a lot more to it that we can get into here in a little bit behind the scenes. That if we start talking about the different pieces, things start making sense in different ways.
Yeah.
So Den of Nerd, poor Josh from Den of Nerds, didn't really. I don't know if you can call it an attack. I mean, emotional.
He commented.
He made a comment or made a post that James Gunn, he's heard that James Gunn does not like Henry Cavill, and that's why Henry Cavill is out. And that might have been a jump to a conclusion. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. James Gunn responded, and he was like, yeah, because you're so connected. He was like, really, I mean, James Gunn is on his heels right now, and he's I mean, I'm trying to not take sides and just display it for what it is. So they just kind of went at it for a little while, and James Gunn just destroyed poor Josh. I mean, Josh shouldn't have said anything, but that's what people do on Twitter. They say stupid things. And, I mean, there's a way to say it, and there's a way to not to say it, whereas to, you're going to tag James Gunn and say, I heard you hate Henry Cavill. And he's trying to manage expectations and keep this ship afloat.
Yeah.
And he's like, who are you, little man? And so, yeah, it's just like, you are collateral damage. I'm sorry, Den of Nerds. The James Gunn went off. And,
because his last name is.
I have a thing. So in the midst of all this, and now the fan backlash, James Gunn has made. I think this is part of a different statement where he was talking about, hey, we all love Henry Cavill. We want him to stick around in a different capacity, but for this, the only reason we're not moving forward with him is because we are going in a different direction with Superman, where he is going to be portrayed by a younger character or a younger actor, and that wouldn't work with this actor. That's the only reason. And because they're trying to go with a different, I don't know if it's going to be an origin story, but from I'm getting like Smallville vibes, like maybe
more. Have you seen the new Man of Tomorrow animation? Okay, that's kind of the direction I think that they're heading. It was an origin story, but it was basically like Superman year 1.5, where because that's like when he really first started like. I'm not going to say not holding back. When, like, Lobo came down, he had to deal with Lobo. Then Parasite also came down. Well, the thing that then became Parasite came down, and he had to deal with Parasite and, like, his first major monster villain. So, and that then put him on the map as, like, he is a good guy type of thing. And his mom made his first suit and all that good jazz.
Nice.
So, but if they're going with that, that's cool. But I mean, we've seen how many Superman origin stories?
Right. That's one of the fans' big complaints right now is that, okay, great, another origin story, which they kind of say that about everything. And even like the Disney Plus shows for the MCU that have been origin stories for heroes that we haven't even ever seen on screen before.
Those are fine.
People are still like, oh, these are the most boring ones because we've seen it's just another origin story.
Well, you need to understand the character and how it's going to be in this world.
Thank you for speaking logic and reason, Quinn.
But for Superman, he's going to end up being. They're not going to drastically change him. He's still going to be Superman. For Batman, he's going to brood. He's going to punch, and he's going to either be extra dark and show penis, or he's going to be Michael Keaton. So,
yeah. I mean,
those are the spectrums.
So as far as like Henry Cavill ain't got nothing to worry about. His career is not going away. He's already signed on to play the lead for Warhammer for Amazon. Not coming back to The Witcher for reasons we already talked about. But nobody's like he's not hurting for a job.
No, he's fine.
Which I mean, I don't know. If Marvel was smart, they'd be on the phone with him too for like Hyperion or something like that.
Yeah, or Sentry.
Or Century, yeah. Rumor is that for I think, not Kang Dynasty, but the other one, Secret Wars. They're looking for a dark Superman character.
Kind of like how they made Icarus. Because she said her inspiration was Zack Snyder's Superman.
What Superman?
Zack Snyder's Superman, Man of Steel, Superman for Icarus, and those are the vibes I got.
And the words of Arvia Arad still echo. Like people are still quoting that, saying the Superman is just not interesting because he's so OP. Which is like I don't like. He said that as a Marvel exec, trying to take a jab at the lead of the competition. You know what I mean? Like. So, I mean, it was a calculated move, but apparently it was a smart move because people can't shut up about it. Every time Superman enters the discussion, there's always somebody that says that.
Yeah.
It's a gross misunderstanding of the character, I think.
Yeah.
And
that's a whole discussion for another time.
Yeah.
That's
a whole nother soapbox. And I think Man of Steel actually was doing it right. You know
it
what I mean?
was, yeah.
Which is, and that's why another reason I'm so disappointed to see them not continue with Henry Cavill's very grounded take on Superman.
Yeah. Because homie, when he needed to turn it on, he turned it on. He dog walked Steppenwolf like he was just a child. Not saying he beats children, but he dog walked him like he was. But he made Steppenwolf realize I shouldn't have done any of this.
I stepped up on Steppenwolf.
Yeah. So,
So just kind of touch base on where the other like main Justice League characters are, because they are the foundation of the DCU moving forward. And so like this seems to be the nail in the coffin for the DCEU, and now it's the DCU moving forward.
yeah.
But it's all happening really, really fast, and there are a lot of questions, a lot of things still up in the air. And even from last week, Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins made a statement, just kind of setting the record straight. And because there was so with the cancellation of Wonder Woman 3, there was a Hollywood Reporter article that came out, and James Gunn responded saying some of this was correct, some of it was half true, and some of it was just blatantly false. And not because he can't announce everything, can't say everything, not going into detail.
Yeah.
And but there were rumors or rumors, I guess, that Patty Jenkins was asked to deliver the outline and they just kind of shot her down, and she was like, "What? Well, what do you want?" And they just like, "Well, you know," and it just kind of like it got. It apparently got so heated that Patty Jenkins sent a Wikipedia link to character arc to the studio, and it just like it got really petty and really silly, and but Wonder Woman is not moving forward. Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward, and she's one of the Holy Trinity of the DC. So James Gunn, as far as I know, hasn't made a statement pertaining pertaining to that outside of what he already said. But Patty Jenkins just did this whole thing where she was like doting on how much she loved Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, Gal Gadot, and that she was actually still working on Rebel Squadron. It was just waiting until after Wonder Woman 3 had been done.
Yeah.
And so that's still in the works. But things did get heated, and they have decided not to go forward with Wonder Woman for whatever reason, or their own version. We don't know yet.
And I don't, and for as far as Wonder Woman herself, like the first Wonder Woman was, in my opinion, of like, if you just section it off from like all female superhero movies, is the best. Because it like hit all the knots. It didn't make her feel like she was a damsel in her own movie. It like highlighted everything that she was about, that the Amazonians, that the other Themyscirans were about, and it made her feel like she like actually is supposed to be. Like she is the one who stands next to Batman, Superman when it has to go down.
Yeah, because she is that powerful.
Yeah.
And her character, like another thing about the Trinity in DC is that they're not only physically powerful, but they are morally powerful.
Yeah.
And each one of them, that's why, I mean, I know they've skirted off with like, you know, there are definitely some questionable things about Bruce Wayne and Batman and those things, but I feel like as soon as they have an issue, they're immediately dealt with, or it causes a huge problem, like a universe-ending problem.
Yep.
So they have to be morally powerful, and so the storytelling is that ethics, morality is just as important as being physical prowess. Or like it's it's even more important.
Yep.
And that is heroic storytelling, and that is mythic storytelling, and that goes all the way back to back with the Greek gods and all that kind of stuff, where your morality plays and all that stuff. Anyways, that is one thing I think is unique about the DC characters. They're basically Greek gods, but they're morally and ethically sound, whereas like in Marvel, they're just people trying to be superpowered, trying to make it work, and so I could see how that could be more compelling for some people, and they've even tried to like taint or darken the characters with these different struggles or whatever, and even like Avi Arad attacking Superman, saying, oh, he's boring because he's a Boy Scout, he always does what's right, and da-da-da. But
we know what happens when he doesn't.
Exactly, and that's the story. That's the story. That's the interesting part. Is him dealing with trying to figure out what the right move is, and when he gets it wrong, it's big wrong.
It's big wrong. It's how do we stop this wrong?
Yeah, and Batman same way. It's like when he's doing underhanded stuff, it always comes back to bite him.
Yep.
I mean, like that is morality storytelling and cautionary tales, and like that goes back to like the origins of storytelling. Like that is pure storytelling.
When Wonder Woman goes off the rails, the world ends. Like it wasn't even Flashpoint. In the Flashpoint comic, she gets into an affair with Aquaman, And then she kills Mira because Mira catches them. And then Aquaman starts a war with the Amazonians because of it. And then Aquaman blows up the world because he couldn't beat her. So he's like, the moment my heart stops, there will be a bomb that goes off.
Yeah, and I honestly think that this type of storytelling has been lacking in our modern time right now, in this season that we're at in America and everything, because accountability for very powerful people is very important.
It's very important.
And yes, I feel like those stories need to be told. So,
yeah.
Yes. So Patty Jenkins said that, and you can find these statements online. And so Flashpoint is still on, even though things are being canceled left and right. The DCEU is quickly being swept out of the way to make room for the new DCU. I mean quickly. Like, it wasn't one of these things where, okay, James Gunn and Peter Safran are now running the DC universe and we're going in a different direction. And then in 6 months, they start like, okay, here we go. It was like, bam, bam, bam.
Yep.
And, oh yeah, we're canceling this, we're canceling that. So much so that between the short window where Black Adam was in theaters and it hasn't even hit streaming or DVD yet, within this window that if you know anything about like theaters and streaming and all this stuff, the window is constantly shortening. Like, in this tiny window, all this has happened.
Yep.
Where, I mean, we had a end credit scene where they doubled down on Superman and the DCEU. Like,
Yep.
It is like, we're doing this. And fans got incredibly excited.
Yep.
And even though like there were some people that weren't excited completely about the Black Adam movie, even though I loved it, I thought it was great.
Great movie.
Some people didn't think it was. I think maybe they're just listening too much to the critics.
They really are.
Because Marvel has critics all the time, and they're going to constantly be comparing it to Marvel because same thing ish. It's the only thing. It's the only game in town out there that's similar.
Yeah.
So they doubled down on everything. Fans got stupid excited. I got excited. We all got excited. And where can this go? The Rock has been working on this for almost 20 years. Like, double down. He's like making statements. Henry Cavill's making statements. The momentum is building.
Yep. Everything,
and then just
full steam ahead, and then
breaks.
stopped.
Yeah, not just breaks, but we're going to not only stop the car, we're going to burn it to ash and reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
So there's a lot of brain cluster fucks happening here. It's like, what is that? I don't understand what is going on. Trying to wrap my head around this.
To add into that, Aquaman 2 is still happening, but apparently it's the last Aquaman, and then Jason Momoa is not going to be Aquaman, he's going to be Lobo.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, nothing's confirmed, but Momoa did make a statement recently not long after James Gunn was announced, that under the leadership of James Gunn, he is going to be able to fulfill one of his lifelong dreams. And
being Lobo?
Yeah, so his fans immediately were like, Lobo. He's always wanted to play Lobo. So that's what, and originally that's what he was getting into the DCEU for, and then it turned into Aquaman for some reason.
For whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
because they were like, Lobo. Nobody likes Lobo. Yeah, baloney. Anyways, they wanted, because they saw what Marvel was doing, and they're like, we want that. We don't want weird Lobo. You know,
but it's fine. But I did like his take on Aquaman. I thought character-wise,
Surfer bro.
It all made sense. Like him being Samoan, all that, loved it. That was great. His relationship with Mira, not so much. It's fine.
Yeah.
There were elements of the movie I liked, but there were also things that I didn't. But if he ends up being Lobo, it's what it is like seeing that hard turnaround. Because
Yeah.
we've never like had that before. Where like like I said, the only other game in town where like Chris Evans is Captain America in like this movie, and then we see a Fantastic Four movie that comes out a month later, and he's now Human Torch.
Yeah, even when he was Human Torch before, and they were talking about casting him as Captain America, as Steve Rogers, everybody was still like, but he's Human Torch. And I understand that the mindset of audiences are becoming more savvy and getting used to this kind of thing now, more used to this type of thing. But there's still that like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, there are so many other actors out there and actresses that can do this. Why are we banking on the same people and doing the same people?
Yeah, like Gal Gadot, she was like in my opinion, like. She's not the only Wonder Woman we've seen, but the best Wonder Woman we've seen in a while.
For our generation, at least, and the only one on screen, Linda Carter.
Because there
amazing,
was
perfect.
The pilot for the Wonder Woman Wonder Woman TV show, like back in the early 2000s, that didn't pan out. Mm-hmm. But and
I forget who it was. She was on Agents of Shield.
She was.
She's on Orville now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that would have been cool too. But
Adrian Palacki.
There we go.
Steel Trap.
That would have been cool too. But I mean, I don't know. I miss Gal Gadot already.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, as far as a person, she fits it. Like,
she did.
When they first announced it, like, I was like, she didn't even look like Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? It's like, she doesn't, like, Linda Carter looks like the comic book character.
Yeah.
Like, head to toe. I mean.
Yeah.
And Gal Gadot was like, I mean, I'm not to get crude, but like, I mean, Wonder Woman is a big-chested woman. Gal Gadot is kind of petite. But I mean, I'm just like, she's a full busty, curvy woman. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So as far as like body type, she doesn't look like Wonder Woman, and not to mention Wonder Woman is porcelain skinned. Gal Gadot, not so much. So like, just being a white guy coming from the white guy realm, like, my first take was like, she don't look like Wonder Woman. But fortunately for me, I have an open mind and I am open to other things. So I started looking into her, and the more I looked into her, the more I realized how much she actually embodied Wonder Woman. And she was the right pick. And then the movie came out, and I was like, she is amazing. And she is Wonder Woman. Like, to me, in my mind, she is just as much Wonder Woman as Henry Cavill is Superman.
Yeah. And then she had that music. I was like, oh, it was just, all of it was good. It was just good.
The second movie, not so great. But still, like, like, these characters, like, the casting has been really, really good. Ezra Miller outside. But the casting has been really, really good.
Yeah.
For the DCEU.
Yeah. Hold on. Do I have a video still? I don't. I saw this picture. It was like all of the original cast of the Snyderverse Justice League, and like grayed out of who was left, and it was just Jason Momoa.
Basically. So like right now we've got, as far as I know, 3 DCEU films that have not been released. We don't know if Blue Beetle is going to be tied in or not. As far as like production and everything, it was happening around the time of Black Adam coming out. And so it looked, and during the time when they were doubling down on the DCEU, so it makes sense that Blue Beetle would be.
Did Shazam get pushed back originally?
It did, but COVID though.
Well, I thought
it
got pushed back recently.
Oh, so I thought it was because of something to do with Black Adam though.
I thought,
so we got.
I think originally it was like supposed to come out the month after, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
So Shazam, financial and fan golden child, like, did really, really well, and does not get the credit it deserves, I think, as far as like being in the DCEU. So Shazam 2, the Flash movie, and Aquaman 2 are the only ones that I know for a fact are solidly inside the DCEU that are coming out.
It should have came out November 4th originally.
Hmm.
And then it got pushed back to June 2nd.
June.
Well, March 20th, March 17th. US release. So, yeah.
Yeah, hard to see what's going to happen there. I mean, success all the way around for that that first film. I mean, it could be a stinker like Wonder Woman 2. We'll see.
And then there was that rumor, but now it's like, I feel like it's
rumor?
the Wonder Woman being in Shazam 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I don't know if that's like still a thing or like what's going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, it just, I don't know. Like we were talking, this seems like with them doubling down on the DCEU and saying, okay, we're course correcting, we're going to fix this. Here are these films that are curving back into the DCEU and reestablishing and getting back everything that, because now they've laid the groundwork, and that's why the DCEU failed in the first place, because they hadn't earned it. They didn't lay the groundwork before they put all their cards on the table. I mean, they put the cart before the horse, and now they're just like, now we're just going to start over. And I mean, I understand the logic behind that with James Gunn and Peter Safran coming in and wanting to go their own direction, and want to leave behind all of that all the failure, all the question, all that kind of stuff that failed before. But it begs the question: at what point do you burn bridges with the fans to where, yes, you're the golden child, but like you're flirting with people turning on you at this point? And I don't know if it's like with David Zaslav taking over, and then right after kind of cooking the books a little bit to try to get it ready to sell, and then James Gunn coming in behind that. I don't understand why James Gunn would still agree to be in that, with that information having come out. And it seems like David Zaslav is almost using James Gunn as like a body shield and hiding behind it, saying, "Hey, whoop, doing great things. Don't look over here at my cooking the books and stuff."
Yeah, unless Peter Safran is here until he can take over from Zaslav.
Who knows? Safran has been around for a while. He's produced several of these DCU movies.
Yeah. So he's
got a dog in the fight.
Yeah. So he knows what's happening over here.
Mm-hmm. Put a pin in that. We're going to come back to that. Let's touch on these real quick. So we talked about Aquaman, Jason Momoa's Lobo rather. Flashpoint still on. Wonder Woman 3 is not happening. Batman, there was a rumor that the Matt Reeves Batman was going to be brought into the James Gunn verse.
Oh, leave it there.
And he said, nope, that's not happening. Matt Reeves also confirmed that's not happening. But they're still going forward with Batman 2. Joker 2 is also still going forward because the last movie he was Oscar winning, so how could they not?
Yeah, just leaving money on the table.
Exactly. And Matt Reeves' Batman was also a huge success.
Yeah.
So
set up so many things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like this is why I'm getting confused about how quickly things are happening, and why they're just not like giving it some breathing room, because they've still got all these things that are compartmentalizing the universe before they can move forward building their own thing. So why not just let it ride for a moment? And we've talked about this, like when David Zaslav started canceling Batgirl and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, let it ride. Let the things that are in post-production or in production and post-production, let them ride. Let them finish their thing. And then, like, 6 months to a year, start talking about, okay, now we're going to move this. And I understand that it can get ahead of you if it's a hands down success, and that can change plans or whatever. But they can also say, hey, we love these things. We're going to deliver these things, but eventually we're going in a different direction without releasing details and laying hammers or axes at Henry Cavill's feet.
I don't think they wanted it to be a success. Because I get that. You don't want to release it and then it be good because then people then want more.
Yeah. Which is the thing with like Black Adam. Black Adam financially dismal, not that great. I mean, they lost like $100 million because they couldn't get into China. And sometimes that's just how things go. You know what I mean? Like Marvel's had some stinkers, which is why Marvel's like talking about, reevaluating right now. But that is just part of the game. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why the strength of a connected universe. That is the strength of a connected universe, so that you can continue the story, even though like the huge hits will make up for the ones that don't do so well. And I understand that they have to do a certain amount. I get that, but it equals out in the end. If you're looking at the numbers, like I don't understand. And DCEU is like mixed, so we'll see. I mean, we won't see. It's over. But so Affleck is supposedly coming back to direct James Gunn DC film. We'll see.
So weird.
And we'll see. Like somebody speculated that maybe Dead Man, because he's like a Bostonian, and that's Affleck's like thing. It's like he loves Boston. That's where he's from. Black Adam, once again.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, like how I want to hear The Rock's perspective on this. He's probably livid. If I had to guess, but knowing The Rock and how he handles things, he might be playing it smart and giving it time to breathe. Because that's smart. DC, Warner Brothers, that's smart. Give it some time to breathe. Let the fire cool before you throw more gas on it. And he's probably going to release a statement that's very, very political. I don't mean political. I mean just like very, very...
I forgot the word. I know the exact word you're trying to say.
Cordial or...
Diplomatic.
Yeah, diplomatic, yes. Very, very diplomatic. Because The Rock is very diplomatic. Unless you're talking about Vin Diesel. But, so, The Rock, he's one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star in the world, and just spent 20 years building where this is going to go and talking it up, saying, hey, the hierarchy's about to change, and here I come, and blah, 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 blah. And they just cut him off at,
First big screen Dr. Fate, first big screen Hawkman. They were both great.
It did a lot of world building, for that, I think the fans, I think it's going to settle on the positive end of like, this is a great film.
Yeah, because there was a lot of good. I left the movie tired. A lot of fighting.
Well, yeah, when it hits streaming and DVD, I think it's going to make up a lot of that money.
It's gonna get a second life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they've sucked the wind out of it, and so it's like all of the momentum and everything that it had moving forward. Now they've killed it. So I mean, they're going to point at that and be like, "Why'd you do that?" Like that meme. Like, why'd you do that? Okay, so. So that also gets into the James Gunn films that he's already made that are solidly in the DCEU, like Peacemaker, Suicide Squad. Films that his own wife, Jennifer Holland, has just got her feet on the ground and established herself as a solid recurring character in this world. Yep. And she's great. I loved her in Peacemaker. I loved her in Suicide Squad. She was in Black Adam. So, I mean, and Henry Cavill was in Black Adam. Like, the Justice League showed up in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Peacemaker is supposedly getting a second season.
Yeah.
How do we kill Wonder Woman 3 and Man of Steel 2 and anything else going forward and still say, well, we're still going to do my thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I honestly feel like for this to be fixed, if they have to fix it, because I don't think they can, well, then I have to. For when they fix it, the only way that they actually can is with Flashpoint. Is the only way I think they actually can.
Mm-hmm. Which is at this point gonna require reshoots.
Yep, it will, and they might as well make that
dumping more money into this film that they already don't want people to see because of Ezra Miller.
Yep, they should have just released that film earlier this year.
Yeah. They should have just release them, let them out, and give it time to breathe, and then
because I bet
train
money,
in the off season, and then come on strong.
I bet money, like right after Ezra Miller had the statement of I'm gonna go to rehab and everything, if they then came out and said, hey, due to all the blah 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 blah, we've made the decision to release the Flash movie on HBO Max,
or Max, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
Yeah, whatever that's about to be called, and then just let it live and breathe there. Don't touch it. Don't take it off. None of that, and leave it there. That time next year, it probably would have seen a spike in things because don't know. Better, but yeah, that could have then changed things out. I feel like you said, they should have let some things kind of play out before they did it.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like they're all bark and no bite, and then they get upset that there was no bite to it. It's like you have gotten out in front of yourself and spoiled your own self, and then are upset and blame I don't know if there's blaming going on, but they just can't get it right. But it doesn't matter.
I think
they can't keep their hands out of it, and you can have The Rock, the biggest star in the world, work with you for 20 years and get everything going in a solid direction, and then still trip over your own feet. It doesn't matter who they bring in. Oh, The Rock didn't work. Let's get James Gunn.
Yeah, I feel, and I don't blame James Gunn in it. I think some of it, because he does have a vision, and I understand you want to make things go your direction, but Warner Brothers, the folks who are in those suits, also can't keep their hands off the cake.
Yep. And I was really hoping that David Zaslav could do that, but he's already tarnished his name in my mind. I came out the gate, was like, okay, let's see what he can do, and then immediately got my foot thrown back in my mouth because of all this cooking the book shit that he's doing right now, or that came out that he was doing, and that kind of just went away. I don't know what's going on with that. It seems like there should be some prosecution there. That's seems highly illegal. You're trying to cook the books to get a company ready to sell.
Yeah.
That's fraud, dude. That's fraud. But James Gunn coming in as the body shield, for lack of better words, just kind of I don't understand. James Gunn is a smart, savvy guy. I don't understand. There's got to be more going on.
Yeah, there's things we're not getting told.
Mm-hmm. So we were talking okay, so we start putting the pieces together. One of the first people he called to get when he got off of the job was Kevin Feige. That conversation I would love to hear. Be a fly on the wall. It's right now it's looking like he's just hey, just take it, get that on your resume, and then we'll talk. Mm-hmm. And then when it falls apart, we'll know it was Warner Brothers, because everybody knows they can't do it right. You know,
Yeah.
they're screwing themselves up. How do we put it? Where they just they have the shit egg and the gold egg in front of them, and they can't. They're like, we want the gold egg, but they keep.
Let me grab this one first.
Yeah, and then they're mad that you don't want to eat the egg because it's got shit in it, and then they're like, but it's gold. It's got gold in it too. It's like, what? Nobody wants that.
Yes. It's.
Yeah, and so even like the whole co-chair thing seems suspect when we start looking at it from this point of view, because Peter Safran is an exec and he's a producer. I don't know if he specifically works for Warner Brothers, but he has had his hand in several DCEU films. He does go way back with James Gunn as well, so they're a good fit. But it makes me wonder, because Warner Brothers can't trust anybody, that maybe they were like, oh, James Gunn, we want you to do this, but we're going to put training wheels on you. And Peter Safran is there to keep you in line until we can trust you or whatever, which is weird. Yeah, exactly. Because if you think back all the way to J.J. Abrams that they brought in a couple years back to course correct DC and idea brainstorm with them and stuff like that, and they even gave him an office on the lot and everything, and then we never heard a peep. So it's almost like he was just like, all right, cool, let's do this, and they were like, eh, and then he just quietly exited out the back door. So I think it's just a matter of like the bean counters and everybody just, oh, we need some hard evidence. We need this. And it's like, no, you have to go with your gut. You have to trust people. This is an artistic endeavor. Like there is some element of risk here that you have to take, and you can't break everything down on a spreadsheet and just say, we want that, do it here. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? And that's why Marvel has been successful, because Disney has told Marvel, like, here's the parameters, go play, like, just don't cross these lines, and they leave them alone for the most part. As what I haven't heard any reports of Disney saying, Marvel, you can't do this, or them having doubts about this or that. You know what I mean? But it is it's rampant in Warner Brothers. They constantly doing this same thing. Sony did the same thing with Spider-Man. Has done over and over.
Yeah, I think they've found a weird groove with Spider-Verse, but
it's with Marvel's help. Is the thing, is like they're okay with Marvel taking the risks.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. I gotcha. Yeah.
And then I feel like Disney didn't know, like, once they bought Fox, like the Deadpool movies that were, successful. Still haven't got Deadpool 3 yet. I think they were trying to figure out how they wanted to go about it, because the other two had been rated R, and then so they had to figure out how to make that stuff play in their playground.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've kind of like spread out a little bit to kind of get in it. And so coming back to DC, like, that is something that DC has done well and can get away with, that Marvel is still getting pushback about, like just that tiny little sex scene in Eternals. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe that She-Hulk was so raunchy. It was like, raunchy. It was PG-13. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, DC films have been dark and raunchy and gritty and all this, and people just lap it up. Yeah. But at the same time, they've also done super colorful, Marvel-esque, family-friendly films like Shazam. And done really well with them. Yeah. So they're in a lot of ways, they're a lot more dynamic than Marvel, and they've got a lot more room to play, and have a lot more change in their pockets with fans. But I feel like with all these things, like all these things happening at once are making everybody's head spin.
Yeah. They do gotta slow down. It's all at the end of the year. Everything. Who knows what the beginning of next year is? Hopefully they line up some things and give us some explanations. I feel like we have like a fourth of the puzzle,
Right.
if that. And then once we have everything else, like all this will like make sense all at the same time.
Yeah. I hate to Babe Ruth it and call my shot, but if I wonder if we're still going to see James Gunn be head of the DC films in 6 months.
I think it depends.
If things keep playing out, because at the first of the year is when they're supposed to announce a whole bunch of other things and new things and kind of like, tell where they're going.
There's also one thing that go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah. So, but I'm wondering, because fans are getting very, very pissed off right now. And in the midst of those, like, this is why giving it room to breathe can be very good, because in the midst of all this, the fans being very, very pissed, these are the people that you cater to, that you're selling to. You cannot piss them off. Like, and then get mad that nobody watches your movie. Because these are the people that will watch your movie, that you're making the movie for. So in the midst of all this, and you're announcing, oh, we don't want to do those things that y'all want to do, we're going to do something else, those bad feelings are going to follow into the new things, and they're not going to be happy with it. I guarantee you, YouTube is going to be fired up. Like, it's going to be alive. Like, this is going to be YouTube when James Gunn starts. Like, it's going to be like, I never liked James Gunn. James Gunn is a flop, and Disney was right to fire him, and he just destroyed a DC. It's going to be, I'm calling that. Like, and Warner Brothers is going to freak the fuck out, because that's what they do, and they're going to go, oh no, our golden egg is not as golden as we thought. Oh no, instead of trusting the creative process, they're going to go, oh no, shit egg.
Yeah, that's a huge possibility. The other,
and then they're going to blame the fans and COVID. They're going to make James Gunn the scapegoat, or they're going to fire David Zaslav and make him the scapegoat, but keep doing the same shit.
It could be
it's a management problem.
A very elaborate misdirect. Could be. It's not though. I wish it was. But there's also still.
I hope so.
Yeah. One thing that they've been keeping at arm's length is, I don't know whose arm is, what the length is, where the arm is, but Sandman as well, because it's a very popular show on Netflix now.
And it's in its own universe.
Yeah, but there's a lot of references in it. From the
and not even including the Watchmen.
Yeah, not even including
we haven't
the Watchmen
touched on.
So there's a lot that they can bring in and do. We're just gonna have to be. There's probably gonna be like 3 more bad things that come out before the end of the year.
So much potential, like,
so,
even just the idea of they had decided to go forward with the Batman Beyond film, and then they decided not to. Like, people are livid. They're just like, what?
Yeah.
You were gonna give us what? It's like.
Yeah.
But people are fickle and things change, so we'll see.
Yeah. Still got Doom Patrol. Still got
Doom Patrol.
Titans.
Is it season 3 right now?
Yeah, season 3.
Yes. Titans. Who God knows why that's still happening. But you just keep feeding me Doom Patrol, and you got me.
So yeah. All the TV shows are starting to end as well, so they're
because the new DCU is supposed to include all the video games, TV, animation, and films. Yep. Connectivity. It's basically what same game plan as Marvel, which is like something that they finally had to concede is like, okay, if we want to make this work, we have to do it like this. We cannot get out in front of ourselves. And that's why I'm like, okay, in 6 months, are we going to get an announcement that, creative differences? And we've decided to not move forward because they can't keep their hands out of the kitchen. Like, just get out of the kitchen and let James cook.
And they've let it happen before, like where somebody made a full connected universe in the Arrowverse, and it succeeded until they decided that it wasn't, that they want everything to be all in one. But even the Arrowverse still connected everything.
And the animation, they have done really well on TV and in animation.
But it was so low on the rungs, they were like, yeah, you can keep doing whatever you want down there.
Exactly. And I think that's why it succeeded, is because it was off their radar.
Yeah.
And they couldn't put their hands in it.
Yep.
And the creatives were allowed to do creative things and do what they do, you know?
And they even did it without having, for the longest time, without having Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. Eventually towards not the end, but they eventually then got in Superman, they got in Batwoman, and still no Wonder Woman at the end, but they also had Supergirl as well. So
and those shows are being canceled left and right as well.
Yeah, well, there's only one left now. It's just Flash. It's gonna end.
Superman and Lois is still going?
Yeah, season 2 ended. I haven't said anything about it being done.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I mean, I understand that to make an omelet, you have to crack a few eggs. I get that. But do you have, in the process of cracking eggs, do you have to destroy the kitchen? You know? It's a lot, and a lot of questions, and I'm sure there's going to be even more come out because we haven't heard from Dwayne Johnson. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Just please, if you're gonna have somebody like James Gunn come in, and that's what makes me nervous, is that Peter Safran. I'm nervous and excited because it could go one of two ways. One, either Peter Safran is there to keep James Gunn in check, or because Safran and Gunn are close, that's what they think, and he's going to allow James Gunn to be James Gunn because he trusts James Gunn.
So, yep. Well, ride out this bad news till the end of the year and then see what next year holds.
For sure.
For all these, there was so much promise. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Just, let it play out in the animated universe at least.
They could.
Let it happen. Do like a thing and just we'll finish the Snyderverse here, animated. That'll be fine. Just let them place their characters. Anyways, that's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
I do not.
Yep, I know you got to go. And it's getting late. Okay, guys, so thank you for watching, especially if you've watched up to this point. Don't forget to join us every Thursday night on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. And please like and subscribe. And if you want more, want to know when we go live and all that fun stuff, hit the little bell icon. And at the very least, please like and subscribe and let anybody know that is a nerd for comic books about us, and tell them about us, and try to just let us know. Or if you want to see the channel do more, the show do more, send us a little tip there. And if you're interested in being involved, send me a DM or something. Anyways, thank you. Don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesno.com. And I'll see you next time. This is Dylan.
I'm Quinn.
Peace.
Bye.